News Center 16's Gabby Gonzalez was at the scene live all night long for us, and she begins our team coverage in New Carlisle tonight. Gabby, this is hitting that community pretty hard.
It really is, Seth. Assistant Chief Jamie Middlebrook had served the department for more than 20 years. He was very well known in the community and actually worked alongside his father in the department. News Center 16's Trisha Hart has been here all day for us. And Trisha, I was at the scene last night. I heard several explosions coming from that fire. Also a lot of tankers going back and forth from the scene. This was a very big fire.
It was, and a bunch of neighbors have talked to me today. They said they heard the explosions, they saw the flames.
And that brotherhood among firefighters was so clear last night. More than a dozen different departments showed up to help when that Mayday call went out. And also they're actually helping today, filling shifts here at the New Carlisle Fire Department to make sure the folks here in town have some time to mourn this whole situation.
Because these are all volunteer firefighters. This is not a full-time job. Middlebrook was a full-time EMT here, and being the assistant chief was just a volunteer position for him. So talk about a man who gave it all to New Carlisle.
For sure. All right, Trisha, we'll hear more from you coming up at 5:30. Thank you so much. And last night when I was on the scene, a firefighter from a different department told me he grew up in this area. He had trained some of the guys of this department, and he just knows how close they are. News Center 16's Christine Karsten was in this tight-knit community for us this morning and introduces us to a hero who put his life on the line every day. That was Christine Karsten reporting, who was here in a very emotional morning as the town woke up to news that Assistant Chief Middlebrook had in fact died in that fire last night. And I just have to say, there has been a constant stream of people stopping by the fire station here, dropping off flowers at a memorial that they've set up for Middlebrook right outside the firehouse there. And we have also learned that his father was on the scene last night, also fighting that fire. So just a heartbreaking situation. Seth Conley is back at WNDU Studios in South Bend to continue our coverage. Seth?
Last night, he died while fighting a massive fire at a septic pumping business called KFEX. News Center 16's Gabby Gonzalez spent all night out on the scene, and she returned back there today. And we begin our coverage out there at New Carlisle with Gabby. And Gabby, many hearts are very heavy in Michiana tonight as we all remember a true hero.
Yes, at the very somber tone all day here today, people stopping by the firehouse to pay their respects. And I actually just got off the phone with the LaPorte County coroner. He tells me the autopsy on Assistant Chief Middlebrook has now been completed. We now know that he did pass away from blunt force trauma and a broken neck. Those injuries are consistent with the roof collapsing on him while he was in the KFEX building fighting that fire last night. They're actually in a procession right now coming back from Lafayette back to town, and they will be taking Middlebrook to a funeral home here in town. I'm joined now by News Center 16's Trisha Hart. And Trisha, I have to say the efforts going on here all day to honor Middlebrook's memory have just been amazing.
They really have, Gabby.
And I have to say, I got a Facebook message from a firefighter in Southwest Indiana asking when the funeral is for Assistant Chief Middlebrook, because his department plans on making the trip here, and I'm sure a lot of firefighters from around the state are going to be here for that as well.
And you can just see it. A lot of people have changed their Facebook images, and you've seen a lot of people wearing their fire department t-shirts here today, sitting around. People aren't just coming and going. They're coming and they're staying, and they're giving hugs, and they're just showing that support.
And I think that's what the folks here in New Carlisle need. All right, Trisha, thank you so much. And I'm going to step aside so you guys can take a look at this growing memorial behind us here. I just saw a little boy and his father drop off flowers as well. People of all ages stopping by to pay their respects. And also the outpouring of support continues here in the community. I'm joined now by News Center 16's Megan Hickey, who is out here all day. And Megan, this is really just affecting everyone here.
You're right. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the word hero used.
And Megan, there are people here at the fire station overnight at 2 o'clock in the morning, honking their horns as they drove by, stopping by to give their condolences. So you just see how close people here are. And it's just amazing to see really all of them coming together like this.
Really, it's been all day, people making pilgrimages to the site just behind us, and it's been building, and I think it's going to continue to build.
And that procession, of course, is returning now from Lafayette, bringing Middlebrook back to take him to that funeral home. All right, Megan, thank you so much. And our coverage of Assistant Chief Middlebrook's death continues. Seth Conley is back at our studios in South Bend. Seth?
All right, thanks so much, Gabby. It's times like this that we see these small communities come together. But it's not just that. He was a volunteer firefighter with the New Carlisle Fire Department. He died while fighting a fire at a septic pumping business called KFEX. Gabby Gonzalez was on the scene of that fire late last night and has been out in New Carlisle all day today, talking to those who knew Middlebrook as well. And tonight she leads our team coverage from the town. Gabby, it's a heartbreaking situation.
Yeah, Seth, it's been a very tough day out here. I have to tell you, last night there was a moment where all the activity at the scene of the fire just came to a halt. The firefighters formed a semicircle around the front of the building. Some of them even took off their helmets, and there was just a moment of silence. We now know that they were actually grieving the loss of one of their own. News Center 16's Trisha Hart joins me right now, and Trisha, that grieving process has continued today. Now, you mentioned his partner also being taken to the hospital. Have we talked to him? Do we know how he's doing at this point?
He actually showed up at the New Carlisle fire station on crutches, his leg bandaged.
And we were just across the street looking at that memorial. So many wonderful messages to the family, to his partner. Hopefully that helps them through this really hard time. Yeah. All right, Trisha, thank you so much. And people all over this area really knew Middlebrook, and they're mourning his death. Middlebrook had volunteered with the New Carlisle Fire Department for 22 years, and he was a career EMT. His father, Bob, has also been a firefighter for about 40 years. In fact, Supporting Heroes says he used to be a fire chief. Middlebrook was fighting this fire with his dad when he died. Those who knew Middlebrook tell us he had a passion to help people, and it simply ran through his blood. We spoke with two of Middlebrook's teachers today, and they say growing up with Middlebrook always had a lot of spunk, that he was very energetic and always wanted people to be happy. They say as an adult, he devoted himself to the community and to helping others.
I would thank him for being, he was always cheerful when you saw him, always had a smile on his face.
Some very touching words right there. And News Center 16's Megan Hickey joins me now. And Megan, when I got back to the station last night about 3 a.m., people were already changing their profile pictures on social media to the New Carlisle Fire Department emblem with a line through it as a way to show their respects for Assistant Chief Middlebrook. It's just amazing to see how quickly everyone has really come together for this.
You're right, and we have that posted on our WNDU Facebook page as well. It's really just a small sample of the way that this tragedy has affected the community.
Last night right here in New Carlisle was the National Night Out Against Crime. So many different departments working together. You saw the camaraderie right there. And I've also learned that some of the South Bend firefighters are helping here in New Carlisle, filling shifts so that the members of this station have some time to really cope with this loss.
Exactly. It's, it's not just a community thing. It's firefighters across the country, across the state, that it affects because it is such a community-based thing.
All right, Megan, thank you so much for that report. And we also want to update you on that other firefighter that was injured in the fire last night. Trisha Hart mentioned him. He's Middlebrook's partner, actually, Matt O'Donnell. He broke his ankle and also had some minor burns. He was taken to a Michigan City hospital and has since been released and actually stopped by the station here in New Carlisle. Now, our coverage of Assistant Chief Middlebrook's death continues with Seth Conley, who's back at our studios in South Bend. Seth?